It is Weather Wagers. We are back in full force now, everybody. Brett Thackeray.
And I'm Dan Tomaso. Great to see everybody.
It is. So a little bit about us, because I want everybody to understand. We started this podcast a couple of years ago with the idea that we could take what we know about the weather and apply it to what we know about sports. We wanted to talk about the teams and the games that we care about, like the Phillies, like Penn State, like the Eagles. And then in broader terms, talk about Major League Baseball, talk about college football, talk about the NFL. And when it applies especially, talk about the gambling lines, talk about betting, talk about the weather.
Well, and as fans, we have seen the weather impact our favorite teams and favorite games.
And that's how we wanted to approach this, from a fan perspective, from a betting perspective, and from a weather perspective. And so we did it. We were really gaining some traction. We had a lot of you out there that started to contact us about this podcast. And then we unfortunately, you know what they call it in the TV business, we got canceled. But then all of a sudden, miraculously, we were told to bring it back, and here we are. We're bigger.
We
and
were
better
ahead
than
of
ever.
our time.
We were ahead of our time. Not really, not really. But I will say, once we brought it back, now for those of you that have been listening again this summer, a quick apology, right? Because we were working on many things. We had a lot of bugs to work out in
New
this
studio space,
new space, new audio, new video, new equipment. But those were what we call a soft launch. We wanted to do some preview episodes. Today's the premiere episode.
Today is the big day because we're blending everything.
So we are back, and we are bigger and better than ever, and we are going to talk about a lot of different things. And let's show everybody where they can find us, Dan, and talk about that, especially on our brand new, we've got it up, the brand new ABC 27 Plus app. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so we are excited that we've launched a app that you can get on your smart TV. So whether it's Roku, whether it's Fire TV, Apple TV, you can find a free ABC 27 app. You can watch this no matter where you are. So if you're one of these people that maybe takes a Fire Stick on vacation with you, or Roku, you can listen to us whether you're in Ocean City, Maryland, Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, California. We're there. So there's no reason to miss an episode anymore.
No. And you can always get us on the website at abc27.com. But also, podcasts are meant to be listened to as well. Sure, we have this video component, and we're grateful for it, but we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon, and we're on YouTube. Okay, so we're everywhere.
We're
right?
everywhere. So, again, no excuse that you can't find us. And, of course, like and subscribe to each of those services, whatever's your favorite. If it is YouTube, and rate us,
because that does help. And, of course, the third member of our team over in the booth, we've got Mr. David Shiner, who is running things for us. And we're very appreciative of you, David. And, by the way, you're with us here all season long, and we're thankful for you.
Yeah, hopefully I won't make a fool of myself too much with some homer picks and and whatnot. But no, always great to be back, and I'm glad we have this platform, because I don't know how many times we talk about how the weather really does affect sports, and you guys, you have that niche locked down, and I can't wait for the season to start up here.
Well, we can't either. So speaking of that, let's get started now. This is week 0. We're going to talk college football. But before that, for those of you interested, we do have some Phillies talk, because for many years, and we know this from our childhood, okay, we could not talk about Phillies baseball much past July or August, okay? Now, the last few years, they have built a team and an organization where we are relevant in September, in October, and more importantly, in November. And I want to talk about the Phillies here. So if you're looking for college football chatter, stay tuned. Just give us a couple of minutes. Dan, I want to ask you just how impressive it was. This is not on our lineup, but I have to mention.
Yeah, we have
because
to.
we're going into a weekend where we're going to be taking on who are we playing?
Washington Nationals.
That's what I thought. We're taking on the Nationals again. But before we get to that, we swept a really good Mariners team.
A playoff team.
And I want your thoughts on that. But first, this was a club that was a little down and out, the Phillies, because Zach Wheeler has a blood clot. Got an operation to get rid of it. We don't know anything. I told you guys in our text thread that he's done. He's going to retire, because he talked about retiring in 2 years anyway. Maybe this forces his hand. Dan, of course, Mr. Positive, said, he'll be back. I don't know that he's coming back this year. Nobody knows anything. He's got to take care of himself.
Yep.
But for a team that is uncertain about their ace pitcher, to come in and sweep the Mariners, I'm a believer.
Well, I think it comes back to the fact that it's not just Zach Wheeler. We're not a one-trick pony team, and whether it's Christopher Sanchez, who has had a remarkable season, one of the best in the National League. So, believe it or not, we had 2 possible Cy Young candidates before this unfortunate blood clot issue showed up with Zach Wheeler. So you have Christopher Sanchez. He came out dominated. I mean, his changeup is one of the most unhittable pitches right now in Major League Baseball. On top of that, and this is where you could dream as a fan, you have Jesus Luzardo, who may have the best overall stuff out of the starting staff. It's just, can he keep his mechanics straight for an entire game? And he's sort of figured it out the last month. So you have that. That's just your starting pitching, let alone a man named Johan Duran, which while you were in Alaska, Shiner brought up this whole point of, what about a closer? What about trading for a bullpen help? And Duran really wasn't on my radar as a real possibility for the Phillies. Yes, he was rumored to be on the trading block. But when they got him, I feel completely different about the team because all of a sudden you shorten the game a little bit, which is a big deal in the playoffs. And so where I don't want people to panic is, sure, there's no Zach Wheeler and maybe there's no hitter potential and complete game potential in the playoffs now. That may be true. But we just had a team in the Los Angeles Dodgers that didn't have very much starting pitching at all last year go ahead and make an incredible run in the playoffs and win the World Series. So it may not be the script fans are used to, but if you have just enough pitching, you have a starter go 3 or 4 quality innings, maybe 5 innings, picturing like an Aaron Nola or Ranger Suarez.
I was going to say, let me jump in here because I think you're dead on about it. So I have written on my lineup sheet, my notes, can the Phillies compete for the World Series without Zach?
Yeah,
now,
I think so.
First of all, did this Mariners series do enough for the fans to answer that question? Because for me, it did, and here's why. You talk about starters, okay? You had Christopher Sanchez and Jesus go, what was it, 7 innings each? I mean, they were going deep into games.
They were going deep.
How many of these guys did we strike out? Okay, and what's his
historical numbers?
What's his name? That's the home run leader.
Big Dumper.
Yeah, the Big Dumper.
Cal Rowley.
We dumped on him.
Yep. Which, by the way, we
didn't get any home runs.
We have good pitching numbers against pretty much every MVP candidate in the league.
So I think, as nervous as I am, because I don't, my gut says we're not going to see Zach Wheeler again this season. Okay, I'm just saying that. Maybe a miracle happens, but if not, that Mariners series did a lot. Now I realize baseball's funky, and we could drop 3 or 4 to the Nationals, or 2 or 3 to the Nationals, and I'm going to be cursing this team out again. That's baseball. That's also baseball fandom. But that Mariners series did a lot to answer that question for me. I think this team can win the World Series.
Well, the
without
lineup's
Zach.
clicking right now, and that helps.
What do we think of the schedule going ahead? Let's pull it up because we do have this National Series coming up. We're going to talk about the forecast for that in a minute. Then we have to go to New York. We haven't played well there, but I'll tell you, this Mets team.
It's struggling. That's why I think in a week we'll know a lot more, because if we can get through the Mets and the Braves, 2 teams that give us fits, I mean, they're divisional foes. We know each other well, that whole nonsense. I truly think the season, if they play well over the next week, it could be mostly wrapped up. There's a 6.5 game lead in the division. If for some reason we take 2 out of 3 of the Mets and hold our own against the Braves and maybe split.
Yeah, and the Braves, I mean, they're not playing for anything. Sorry.
They're not playing for anything, but they've played better as of late. And, of course, that's happening as we're getting them on the schedule.
And then we've got the Brewers. I know you said they're sliding, but that's going to be tough. I mean, they are a very good team. They're a very good team.
It could be for first place overall.
Yeah. And because you showed me a stat, so these are all winnable series, by the way, especially with how the Phillies are playing, because the bats are hot right now. The Mets make me nervous. We don't typically play well at Citi. The Braves are always making me nervous, but they're not.
They're not the Braves of old, right?
And then the Brewers. I mean, this could be a tough stretch for the Phillies, but the way that they're playing, especially after what they did to the Mariners, you love to see it. But, it depends on what everybody else is doing too.
Yep.
Tell me that stat you just showed me before the podcast about the Dodgers.
So if I told you, if I gave you a multiple choice question, who has more wins, the Rockies or Dodgers in the last, I believe, 18 games or 20 games?
Don't bet your lake house on it.
Who would you pick?
Well, you
Again,
would
the Rockies or the Dodgers?
You would want to say the Dodgers and put the lake house on it.
It's the Rockies.
Don't do it. The Rockies
It's
have
the
how many
Rockies.
wins since the All-Star break?
I believe it's 15, and the Dodgers have 13.
I think it was 14, but
So-
either way.
So it goes to show you that your thoughts about what teams are doing may not be accurate. You really do have to look at the numbers. And the Phillies offense, this will surprise people, I think, is in the top 5 in most categories since the All-Star break. Again, there's not a lot of offense in the league right now, and yet the Phillies got hot after the break. And I know it doesn't seem that way, but we have the second best record in the National League, folks. It is what it is.
Let's talk about the weather for the weekend series. We've got the Nationals coming up, and then that is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday series because Friday night and Saturday night, they're going to be at Citizens Bank, and then Sunday afternoon.
Let me stop you before we get into the weekend series because we finally have a day off. So this goes back 2 episodes ago. We haven't had a day off in the schedule since you were on vacation.
Is that right?
Yes. So they got through this stretch, and they got through it pretty well. Obviously, you weren't happy about the split at the Nationals.
No, I was not, but the Mariners made up for it.
And, they didn't play especially well against the Reds on the road, but they had a long road trip. They came home, they swept the Mariners, and now finally they get a chance to breathe and maybe get a little healthier for another pretty long stretch without an off day.
Well, and again, these are winnable series with how these other teams are playing. I don't know that they will. All right, let's show you the forecast. I'm telling you right now,
things are changing quick.
If you are going to Citizens Bank Park, okay, we're talking about what I think is ultimately going to be a spectacular weekend. Friday looks good. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s, falling into the 70s. Dan, I called both of these days, Friday and Saturday, top 10 summer days this year.
And they're dwindling fast. So if you are going to a game, this is the weekend to enjoy it because after this weekend, things are changing. So Sunday, I think, is a little precarious with the front.
Well, but I think the front is coming later. Remember, that's a 1:30 game. Here's 2:30. 84 degrees in Philly. It's going to be nice. It's going to be humid on Sunday. Yep. Let's hope for some home runs. People wonder, too, is the hurricane going to affect the breeze? No, I don't expect the winds to be bad. The hurricane's going to be out of here tomorrow. Fairly light. Maybe a nice little southerly breeze on Saturday, as you saw there. And then on Sunday, again, south-southwest winds ahead of the front. But I think for Philly, we may be dealing with thunderstorms during the game. For Philly and CBP, they should get that game in just fine. So that's a look ahead to the weather. I mean, really a nice summer weekend as what I think is a very winnable series for the Phils.
It should be. Now, again, we say that, and the Mets are struggling with the Nationals too. So, these plucky teams can be problematic from time to time, and there always are spoilers this time of the year.
But it's a perfect weekend at the bank. So, again, here's the forecast. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s Friday, Saturday, 84. Low humidity, too. Partly cloudy skies Sunday. I think they get the game in fine. We will be dealing with storms. They will probably get the storms in the evening. And then we'll just wait and see.
Kind of like our Wednesday was here. We had the rain, but it held off long enough that their day game on Wednesday got in just fine.
It in. That's right. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Now, for those of you that suffered through some baseball talk, Danny, warm yourself up because it is time to talk college football. It is week 0. All right. It is, not the most exciting week, but it is football. And it's being played, and it's real football, and it counts. Okay. So nobody cares about the NFL preseason. I shouldn't say that because I've seen the numbers. People will watch anything NFL.
They will.
Okay? I've
will.
seen the numbers.
And for teams that don't have quarterbacks, it just seems like there's a lot of quarterback controversy right now.
But this is not an NFL show today. This is a college football show, and we're talking about, of course, the really the only game that is exciting, the marquee game. And for that, we're bringing back our games of the week.
Games of the week.
All right, so we've got it, and it's over in Dublin, Ireland. Let's show you what the game is. This, of course, is Farmageddon, Iowa State taking on Kansas State. It's at noon. It's on ESPN, and the line for that game is Kansas State -3. The over-under is 50.5, and this seems like a pretty evenly matched game, doesn't it, for the Big 12?
I think it's a total toss-up. Anyone who says you have a good feel either way for either team, I think is full of it. I mean, and especially on a neutral field, it's a foreign game. It's not on our soil. I mean, anything could happen, right? I mean, last year, the buildup for the Florida State game was enormous over there, and everyone thought, well, this is going to be Florida State kind of planting their flag and making a statement. And boy, the season got off the rails really quick, and I don't think many people saw that coming the way it did.
No, certainly not. But the Big 12 is fun, and I don't care what anybody says because I know that you've got the Big 10 and the SEC with a lot of the marquee teams, but nobody knows who's going to win the Big 12, and this is a great way to kick it off with Farmageddon in Dublin, Ireland. Now,
when you say fun, do you mean mediocre?
No, I don't mean mediocre. You're one of these elitist ivory tower guys.
It's not my fault that the Big Ten, the SEC have just taken over and poached these teams.
But you know what? The Big 12 is just as fun. We're going to give you our picks here in just a bit, but I want to talk about the forecast
It's a
because
different world over there.
Well, I was going to say Dublin is going to be in the 60s and it's going to be raining. Now, this was
It's
kind of like our
shocker.
day yesterday,
Right,
actually.
shocker about the drizzle and the cloud cover.
This is the UK, folks, but here it is. Look at that, showers. And where are they playing this game at? You told me.
What do they call it, Croke Park? Is that what it is?
I don't know. Shiner, look that up if you can get a stadium for us. But either way, it's going to be wet. I mean, it's going to be Irish weather, right?
Yeah, I understand this is a promoted event and it's a big deal. I personally don't like this. If you want my opinion, I would rather football be played when it's nice and warm stateside. You only get a couple weeks like this.
Didn't it make sense to have Notre Dame over there, too?
Yes, Notre Dame. I mean, obviously, worldwide fan base, but Irish.
Right, it makes sense.
Two farm teams?
Two farm teams over there. But you can see, again, as we move into the rest of the day Saturday, it doesn't get much better. It's going to be cloudy and damp. Shiner, do we have a stadium?
It is Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland.
Viva Stadium.
Aviva Stadium.
I have no idea.
And who's the starting quarterback for Kansas State? Is it Avery Johnson?
It is Avery Johnson.
Your guy,
Brecht or
Rocco.
Rocco Becht.
Right? He's got the start for Iowa State. You still got Matt Campbell. You've got Chris Kleiman. Two good coaches.
Two very good I mean, these are probably two of the better teams in the Big 12 if everything is as it seems. What I caution everyone about in this week one is that with the transfer portal, even if you are a super fan, even if you're reading Phil Steele's magazine cover to cover, it is so hard to understand how these teams could mesh and develop because the practice times are so short leading into the season that a lot has to come together quickly.
And now they have to travel.
Right.
A long way. But we've got our picks because we're looking at this. Remember, this is a noon game. ESPN. There is, I believe, an in-studio version of Game Day on ahead of it. I'm going the Wildcats of Kansas State because I'm telling you, I like what Avery Johnson brings. I think Chris Kleiman is smart. I just think they have the better team. And Iowa State, as great as Matt Campbell has been, they've been a little rocky lately. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they had a very good year last year. They had some trouble down the stretch. I think Iowa State makes a statement. Again, very hard to know very much about these teams, but I have a gut feeling about the Cyclones. I'm picking them.
Now, hold on. You have them here +3. Are
Yes.
you going to just up that to money line? You're going to pick them all the way?
I'll pick them all the way.
Wow. Straight up.
Straight up.
Mr. Moneyline. I like it. So that's the opener. That's in Dublin, and that's the big one. I think everybody's going to be trying to get their yard work done maybe later in the day, watch the noon game from Dublin and take in two teams that they played this game at the end of the season last year. Now we want to go to some other games you might care about, and we're bringing back all of our best segments too, and we're going to start with my best picks of the week.
Time now for Brett's Best.
Oh, yeah, it's my best bets. And Danny, we're headed to the land of blue water.
This is
and
always
white sandy beaches.
Is this also like a rite of passage to begin the season? It's always Hawaii.
It is, and this time Stanford heads out there. This game gets the national treatment on CBS.
Yes.
All right. CBS has decided that instead of airing 48 hours reruns, they're going to try to air some live football. And I think it's smart because, again, listen.
There'll be an audience.
I'll be an audience.
Yep.
I want football on my TV. I'm going to watch it Stanford at Hawaii, and I'm telling you right now, you take the rainbows.
Well, yeah, when you travel this far as a team and you got a bunch of teenagers in Hawaii, do you think there's going to be some distractions for Stanford?
By the way, I want to ask you this little trivia question. This is out. Remember, Stanford has fallen on hard times. And this is why take Hawaii 2.5. Okay, I'm taking them all the way big. Big.
Yep. Home team.
Can you name the Stanford head football coach?
You know, did I hear it's Frank Reich?
You are correct, Mr. Frank Reich. I was going to
was-
try to stump you with that.
I was having a moment yesterday in the car, and I
There,
thought
you're
to
getting the
myself,
crowd into it now.
and I thought about this because
Yes.
I've been thinking about the Week 0 matchups and trying to get ready for the podcast. I'm like, did Frank Reich take that job? And I looked it up. I'm like, holy cow,
Andrew
from
Luck.
Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the general,
Yep.
Andrew Luck, called him up and he said, hey, can you come and head us up for Now, this is a one-year deal.
Yep.
This is it. Because
show
I
and
think
go.
Luck is planning for the future and he wants to hire the next hot coach.
Sure.
But Frank Reich is there this year.
He's a pro.
And listen, maybe they get bowl eligible. I don't think they're going to win this game, though. I remember a lot of people went in the transfer. I
Well-
don't think Stanford has much. Hawaii, lay the points, baby.
Yeah, unless there's some magical donor paying kids to come to Stanford and they get the grades to come in. It's such a hard place to win.
And they're favored by 2.5. I like it. I'm laying it. Now, by the way, we should also say that we are not experts.
No.
Do not take our advice. If
We are fans. We are super fans.
If you want to play with your own money, do that. I'm playing with my own money. I'm just telling you what I'm picking, okay? but I will have a little bit of green on the Hawaiian Rainbows. Now, it is time. Now, Dan's picks, we have a special name for that, too.
Yes, we do.
It's Doppler Dandies.
That's right. We got Fresno State at a brand new Kansas renovated stadium. This is a big deal, a big homecoming for Kansas.
And let's have Shiner look up the name of that stadium because we do love stadium names. We are a stadium name podcast.
And they get trickier by the year because all these donors.
Iowa State. See, this is why I don't like it in Dublin. I like it when they come out. There's no greater feeling when the Cyclones run out to Jack Trice Stadium. Right.
Yeah, it is a nice setup they have there.
Shiner, what's the Kansas stadium name, please?
Something Family Field, right?
Well, David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium is what I have.
That's
that just rolls off the tongue.
David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium.
But thank God for him. I mean, they have a renovated
Shiner is a
stadium.
basketball fan of
Rock
Kansas.
Chalk.
So there you go. But you like them in this situation?
I do. Kansas is another dark horse in the Big 12. They are in the Big 12 still, correct? No one poached them yet?
No, roll the dice there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a game where, you have Lance Leipold. I love what he has done as a coach. Obviously, we poached, as Penn State, Andy Koldenicki from that program. Now I think they're on their second offensive coordinator, sans Andy Koldenicki. This is a big year. Their quarterback situation, Daniels gets hurt a lot for them. This is Jalen Daniels or Jaden. There's a difference. Anyway, for those that
I can't help you there.
For those that follow Kansas football, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Yes,
he should have a big year because he could be drafted coming up. And by the way, with as wide open as the Big 12 is, why not Kansas? Why not the Fighting Leipolds?
Well, they're home, and Fresno State is a new coach at the helm. What do we have, David? Were you looking up the
Jalen or Jaden?
It's Jalon, Jalon.
Okay. So
I guess
right
you could
the
say
first
it
time.
either way, though.
Yeah,
I mean, Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels. So there you
Okay.
go.
Could be moving up draft boards after this game. We'll see.
All right. So they're a 13-point favorite.
They are, and that's why I picked them, because this early, when you see a line like that, does it stink or is it real? And we'll find out. We'll find out how good this Kansas offense is, because again, in the Big 12, it is more of an offensive league. There's not a ton of defense at times. There could be a lot of points in this game.
All right. It's time. We want to give you our final picks.
Final picks.
And remember, these are...
We held each other accountable here.
We do, and these will count to the final record. We need you guys, too, to let us know. Whoever the loser is, what are they going to have to do? That's going to be the fun thing.
There is a dunk tank outside.
What is it? Well, that's going to be gone, but I will tell you. What is our email again? Weatherwagers
at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Send your ideas, and we've got a whole season to figure it out.
Yep.
But
one year we did the wing contest.
Yeah. Another time we did the pie in the face.
And the Will Levis mayo, which I will never forget how nasty that was.
And these were side wagers, too, but you got to send us your ideas because we do love to have fun. But here's our final picks. And again, not many games this week. We're going opposite. Kansas State for me. I'm laying the 3. You're going to take Iowa State, but you've even increased
I'll
that.
increase it to money line.
You're going to do it right here live on the podcast. I do love that. And then I'm saying Hawaii, 2.5. Lay those points all the way, baby.
Yeah, I think that it might not even be close.
No, I'm kind of with you. I think, just lay on the beach in Hawaii and just play 2.5 all day long. But what I would be nervous about is your Kansas minus 13.
I'll take them just because Fresno State is in transition. You have an experienced quarterback for Kansas. And I am a Lance Leipold fan. If for some reason things go south in Happy Valley, he'd be one of my first calls.
Well, I love it. So there's the picks. We're going to keep tabs of these. Mr. Shiner can keep the official score. We'll have the score next week because we do check in on our picks each week. I forgot we did that. It was a while since we did, but Dan reminded me. We had everything saved. We knew we were coming back at some point.
Well, again, you can't be these blabbering super fans that we are and not hold each other accountable.
No, and we want the audience what's it paid off, too. Now, before we move on to some week 1 intriguing lines, we do have to have a quick discussion, and I do want it to be quick because Jim Harbaugh is not worth spending much time on. But the Michigan cheating scandal that came to a head here with the NCAA this week, we certainly, if you read the report, it is not kind to the Wolverines. It is not kind to Jim Harbaugh's program. Having said all of that, the NCAA does what it does best and basically confirmed that it's a toothless organization by fining Michigan a lot of money, but not really punishing them beyond that. Now, it did make note that if they punished them for postseason ban and went beyond the money, that it would be punishing
Current players, right?
Current players that had nothing to do with this when the past sins and the people that committed those sins are gone. Too bad that wasn't the case for Penn State in 2012.
I'm sorry, too. Isn't the head coach part of that whole scandal, too?
Well, yeah, and he's really in charge of the program. This is a guy who claimed to be a Michigan man who said, we don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't steal. And then he basically ran his program the opposite way from what we found out. And by the way, I've had to listen to, sorry if it sounds like I'm being harsh, but I've had to listen to a lot of Michigan fans be holier than thou over the
Ride
last
the high horse,
3 or 4 years. And Jim Harbaugh can be a great football coach, and I think he is. But I'm not sure what type of a guy he is. And for those people, too, for those Penn State fans that are a little frustrated about James Franklin, can James Franklin win the big game? Can he get us over them? Would you rather win a championship like Michigan did and now have it be tainted? Nobody believes that Michigan did this on the up and up, and now they're always going to have that asterisk in most people's. Or would you just rather win 10 or 11 games a year and hope this is the year we break down the door? Somebody else was talking this week, and I thought they brought up a good point. They said, for all those big games that James Franklin lost, how many of those games did he have the better roster?
Yeah,
probably none.
Probably
now,
none.
This year, he might.
He might.
But I don't want to make this about James Franklin. I'm just asking you, what is your final take on Jim Harbaugh?
I think it's wholly unfair. I thought when they won the national championship, it was tainted from the start just because of all the noise and
we knew back then that they were
the sunglasses, the
Connor
sign stealing.
Yeah.
It got so bizarre so quickly, and it's a shame because again they had some talent. They had McCarthy as a quarterback. They had great tight ends, great running backs, and they had an elite defense. I don't want to take that away from them, but it also just calls into question how much do they know ahead of time about their opponents. I mean, they beat Nick Saban. Did they do it fair and square? I mean, that was Nick's last hurrah, if you will.
By that point, I guess you could say that, yeah, because they had weeded out the problem by then. But
maybe.
It doesn't matter. It still is
Sign stealing is one thing. The blatant lying and the disregard for any type of regulation. They basically said as a staff,
yeah,
we can get away with this.
And we're going to.
And it'll be years before they find anything out.
And, Jim Harbaugh holds himself up as the best Michigan man that there could be.
Now, I wish the playoff committee would do something, but I think we're beyond that now.
Well, I think we're beyond that, and there's deleted text messages. Connor Stalions called this whole thing the KGB, for God's sake. I mean, it was...
what a weirdo, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be coaching. Jim Harbaugh, he's doing just fine, too. He ran off to the NFL like Pete Carroll did.
Being successful again with a franchise that has a lot of issues, but, they had a decent season last year.
So, we wish him the best, but quite frankly, I'm glad he's out of the Big Ten.
For now. He'll be back.
He's not going to be back in college.
Oh, I think he will be.
First of all,
some donor's going to throw him $20 million and say, come.
No, there's a 10-year... He cannot coach again until he's 74. Now, by the way, what would be the most hilarious thing is if a Michigan donor at that point paid him and he came back to Michigan at 74 years old, and they would still take him. I guarantee it.
100% they would.
All right. It is time to look ahead to week 1 now, because these are the lines that we're buzzing about now that there's actual football to talk about. So let's show you the week 1 lines here. And again,
this is when things get really exciting.
This is because there are some very good games. We know about the big noon one on Fox, Texas at Ohio State. Now, does it surprise you Ohio State's favored here by 2.5? That line has shrunk a little bit.
Again, what do we say about Sark compared to James Franklin? Can't win the big one. This is yet another big game. It's a first test. As much as
he did win the SEC, though. They did beat Georgia in the SEC title.
What I want to see, what is Ryan Day without Jim Knowles? Okay, obviously Jim Knowles
he's Ryan Day with Matt Patricia.
Well, right, and that could be a totally different ballgame because, in my opinion, their defense saved them last year because offensively they were so up and down. I mean, one game they would score at will, and then the next game it was like a plodding offense. So, to me, Jim Knowles won that national championship for them. Just my personal opinion.
I think you're right, and I hope he could win one for Penn State.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Okay, now let's talk about Syracuse, Tennessee. This is an interesting one. I think Tennessee is probably going to run away with this, but that's a big number.
That's a big,
okay.
Yeah, Fran Brown at Syracuse has a decent program.
They're good. Kyle McCord came in there last year and did wonders.
He's gone, obviously.
He is, but the point is they took a guy from Ohio State and he helped him out. I like Fran Brown, but, this is a tough game because they're in Tennessee. I think Tennessee, there's about half the people I've listened to said they're not going to be as good as last year, and then the other half says, no, the Nico drama's out here. They're going to be fine. Joey Aguilar comes in
Joey
from
Aguilar, yep.
So Joey Aguilar, now, just so everybody's aware, he was App State's quarterback last year.
So not a big program quarterback.
Fine program, though.
Right.
And very good. He transfers to UCLA. Then Nico leaves Tennessee.
This is just wild.
And he goes to UCLA. He's obviously going to be the starter. So then Joey Aguilar transfers to Tennessee.
And this is the world we live in right now.
Yeah, isn't that wild? So if they come out and cover that spread, I think then the SEC has to take Tennessee seriously. I do. If Syracuse keeps it close, then maybe those that are kind of naysaying a bit about Tennessee, maybe they're right.
I think Tennessee's in transition. That's why the line really shocks me.
Yes, I'm kind of with you on that. If I had to pick now, and we'll pick these next week, but we both may be laying Syracuse, right?
I think so.
Okay. Like that little drum line there. We're getting ready. Now, this game, and apologies, it's out of order. This game is actually happening Friday night. You've got Hugh Freeze, who apparently reports coming out of Auburn. Hugh Freeze has been throwing his visor a lot during practice.
Well, I believe, wasn't he the one who said that we're not ready to play a game?
Well, yeah. So, but listen,
So
a
that
lot of
bodes well.
Steve Spurrier probably threw his visor. A lot of people probably threw their visor. Baylor. Okay, they go to Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
They're favored by 2 points. Now, the other thing Hugh Freeze said in a press conference this week, they might be playing all three quarterbacks.
Oh. Well, when you have two quarterbacks, you have none. When you have three, what does that mean?
You tell me, because remember, they have the Oklahoma kid coming in, Jackson Arnold.
Yep, Jackson Arnold.
And,
big arm, big talent.
This is going to be the guy. Why is Hugh Freeze saying he's going to play all three?
I
Why
never
is
liked
Hugh
this.
Freeze throwing his visor?
This goes back to the Matt McGloin era for me in Penn State history. Like you have to pick one week one.
But they're favored by 2.
Close game though. Very close game, I think.
Dave
coming our
Aranda,
way.
Baylor, do they still have anything?
They had a decent second half last year in league.
That's a Friday night game on 5. That is a fun game, right?
It is a very fun game because, again, this is a big year for Hugh Freeze. This is a make it or break it year.
And that's why I'm not sure I like him saying about 3 quarterbacks. That just tightens my stomach.
No.
LSU.
That's not a winning formula. Sorry.
Nope. LSU Clemson is the 7:30 game here on our lovely network, ABC. Clemson, Dan, is favored by 4 points.
And that shocks me. That really does shock me.
They're the pick to win the national title for some.
I don't get that. I struggle with Dabo Sweeney. I think he had his peak, and I think he has not adapted to common era football. I actually compare the Clemson program to the Pittsburgh Steelers in that they're about 10 or 15 years behind, and they're snubbing their nose at everyone's modern take on the game.
Well, what if I do? Okay, let's say Dabo gets in the playoff and makes a run this year. Maybe, if he could win another national title in this era, wouldn't you have to put him up then with the best of the best? He did it before this era, and then he would do it during this era.
Yeah.
He's got a quarterback. He's got a defense. He's got Tom Allen, who we know was a pretty good defensive coordinator. This team could go far, and they're favored against a Brian Kelly LSU squad.
I just feel like, again, and I've said this to you on the podcast years ago, SEC talent is just different. I hate to say it.
We're going to find out, and we're going to come back to that game in a second. Then you got some old Pac-12 games. California goes to Oregon State. The Beavers are favored by 3 in Corvallis. That's going to be fun. And by the way, look at the time. It's like Pac-12 After Dark again, 10:30 Saturday night.
It's back
on ESPN. The Beavers favored here? I mean, does California bring anything to this?
Probably not.
Yeah, but it's a fun game, isn't it?
And Oregon State's this weird program that they figure it out from time to time. They have decent years. They get decent talent. I mean, don't forget DJ Uiagalelei was a quarterback at Oregon State. I think people forget that.
I know I have, and quite frankly,
it was forgettable.
Florida State probably wants to forget that too.
Yes.
Finally, this game might end up being one of the games of the week. Utah
and
at
you love
UCLA.
the Utah Utes.
Well, I do, but they are taking on Nico, and they have to go to UCLA. But I think they're going to out physical UCLA. I'm not sure UCLA has enough
could be
horses.
A very low scoring game.
But that's an 11 p.m. game on Fox. How about that?
That could be as well very interesting. Do they have an 8th-year quarterback still at Utah?
Yeah, Cam Howard
Rising.
Cam Rising. Yeah, Cam Rising.
I mean,
Howard.
is he 35 yet? Is he my age?
I don't know, but is he playing? Is he injured? I don't know. But I tell you who they do have, Kyle Whittingham.
And he does win.
He's tough. He's a tough
very,
guy.
very tough.
He is a tough guy. I would not want to meet him in an alley.
Okay.
Well, would you? I mean, he's
No.
a
I
tough-
mean, he just looks like he's a grinder,
Yeah, but that's
a
why
Gruden
Utah.
grinder.
Yeah, I love this guy. He
Yeah,
grinds it out. But Kyle Whittingham he's big, he's tough, and that's why Utah is the way that they are.
He's like the Kirk Ferentz of the Big Ten. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not going anywhere, and he wins games.
Yep.
Now, I do want to talk about the Clemson LSU matchup. That's going to be one of the games of the week. And I want to ask you we have more games. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm
Hold the
jumping
phone.
ahead of myself. We have Sunday and Monday games. I forgot. What a
Starts
week.
to fall off the table a little bit, but these are still pretty good.
Does Brent Pry have a chance against South Carolina?
Not a chance.
They are favored by 7.5. They got Lenora Sellers. They've got Shane Beamer. They almost were a playoff team last year. They're
They were
favored by
close.
7.5.
They were kind of the good, not great team of the SEC.
But again, that's a fun Sunday afternoon game, setting the table for the ABC Prime game on Sunday night. Notre Dame, Miami. We're going back to the 80s. Catholics, convicts, 2.5 points for Notre Dame. This is going to tell us a lot about Notre Dame, right?
Oh, 100%. If they are a true contender, we will find out quickly. I mean, they're going to be a physical team. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play defense. Do they have a passing game? Obviously, a lot of
CJ
transition.
Carr just named their starting quarterback.
Transition to quarterback. Angeli didn't stay the backup who we saw in the semifinal last year. So it's going to be very interesting.
But they also don't need a great quarterback. They did it last year.
They
with
need a game
ground
manager.
and pound.
Yep.
And we know their running backs coach.
Yes, we
Jawan
do.
Sider.
Yeah,
So
how about that? I'm still sour about that.
Keep an eye out. And then finally, we wrap up the weekend with a cherry on top, or I should say a bill on top. Bill Belichick.
And his girlfriend calling plays?
If she wants to, she probably
I'm
can.
sure she could.
And that might be why TCU is favored by 3.5. TCU is a team that really hasn't done anything since they lost the national title game 65 to whatever it was, 7 to Georgia. Can they win this game going away? We just don't know anything about North Carolina.
We don't know anything. I mean, we don't know what type of offense they're going to run. We don't know how good they're going to be on defense because defense was the big thing that upset the apple cart with Mac Brown.
It really was, but it's going to be a fun game to cap the weekend off. We're going to pick all of those games next week, but we had to talk about them, right? But I do want to focus on the Saturday night primetime game here on ABC. These two guys, Brian Kelly, Dabo Sweeney. This is a very interesting game. Brian Kelly under fire. He went into LSU with high expectations, hasn't gotten them to the playoffs yet. He also has lost every single opening weekend game.
Because they keep scheduling these very difficult out-of-conference games.
The pressure is on.
The pressure's definitely on.
Dabo has a chance to, as I said, some people are picking him to win the national title.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot coming back. He's in a similar situation to James Franklin and Penn State.
The pieces are there.
And it's Death Valley to Death Valley, right? They're going from Death Valley
Tiger to Tiger.
to Death Valley, 2 Tigers, 2 coaches. Who does this game mean more for in terms of their job?
I think it's Brian Kelly because I think, as we know in LSU, the patience is very short. I mean, you essentially had a program in turmoil when he came in, so you give a little bit of grace. But as we know, football's king in LSU territory. All it takes is another 8-4 season, and he probably loses his job.
Well,
there's very little room for error.
I think the buyout is maybe too big for that, but I do think the calls for him to lose his job will
louder and louder.
Louder and louder if he loses this. If Dabo loses this game, he can still make a run in the ACC.
Well, right. The ACC is pretty poor
he
in
can
general.
win the ACC title. He can get in the playoff and make a run. So, and Dabo is so ingrained there that even if he would go 9-3 this year, I think he'll
They'd
be fine.
okay. Yeah, LSU has a very tough schedule, obviously. The SEC is no joke.
No, they can't afford to drop this one because then it's like they have very little room for it. I'm with you 100%. If Dabo loses this, I still think he can make a run in the playoffs.
Well, especially if LSU wins this and goes on a roll, it's going to be a quality loss, if you will.
Well, that's true, too. But if Brian Kelly loses another opening game,
there's going to be a stench around that program.
Starts to drop games in later September, I do think that we're going to hear a lot of Feinbaum callers.
I believe that.
Talking about Brian Kelly. Another guy we want to mention here, this is coming up again, not this weekend, but next week is one of the ways that we all start our Saturday mornings in the fall. Lee Corso, it is his final game day show. Here's a picture of him at Penn State. Look
what
at
a great photo.
Love him. We always see my buddy Rusty, who you know. Mm-hmm. We're in a couple of pools with Rusty. He wants you to join another one. Remind me to tell you this after the tape.
Right.
Rusty says you're in. It's called Pick 3.
Okay, Pick 3.
We want you in. But we love watching for Lee on the sideline during whatever game they're at.
Yep.
And you can pick him out on the TV if you're an Eagle Eye. There he was at Penn State. How can we start our Saturdays without this man? We're going to find out soon because Saturday the 30th is his last hurrah.
It'll be a totally different college game day experience. Obviously, his role's been diminished as, he's gotten older. His health has failed him at times.
Yeah.
But it's been great that he's come back, I think, at least twice, right? From pretty
Yes.
major health scares.
Yes, and he's been
So
in and
we've
out the
had
last
this
couple of years. He's
bonus
90.
time,
He's
right.
90. Yeah.
And, the other thing I enjoy is, and hopefully Kirk will put these out on X or whatever, the relationship with Kirk and Lee and their pregame and Lee picking up bags of chips and cookies and stuffing them in his pockets. And
It's fun.
raiding the buffet line.
And Game Day's done a good job of replacing. I mean, you will never replace Lee Corso. He was part brilliant strategist, part coach, part entertainer. And what they did is they cut him in half, and now they have that with Nick Saban and Pat McAfee. So they've planned for the future while at the same time continuing to honor Lee. And this is a great way to do it because on the 30th, they're going to be back where the headgear started, which is Ohio State. And, pains me as a Penn State fan to say it, but that was the first headgear he put on was the bucknut. And they're going to be there for the Texas game, and this is his final hurrah. And I think he's
Final
probably
hurrah.
going to end it by picking the Buckeyes, right?
Oh,
Very fitting.
of course.
Very fitting. But we want to wish him well, and we certainly hope that Game Day goes out with a bang there on the 30th
I mean,
of
it's
August.
part of the inspiration for this show, that his
Always.
love and his passion,
Yes, and having
the
fun.
way you talk about teams, games, and matchups. I mean, that came from Game Day. They created that model.
They did, and we were thankful for that, and here we are
Yes,
today following
100%.
in the footsteps. Any final thoughts, Dano, as we get ready for week 0
Well,
here? This is going to be a lot of fun,
I
right?
think it's going to be a ton of fun. I truly feel like this is going to kick off the season right. Unfortunately, the balloon gets deflated a little bit as Penn State takes on the junior college teams in their schedule for the first 3 weeks, and then things ramp up very quickly against Oregon. So we're going to learn a lot in week 0 into week 1. But don't forget, the season really ramps up in October and November. We're just getting started.
We are, and we're happy. We're going to be having fun. We're going to keep track of our scores against the lines. We're going to keep track of some side bets. We want you to know what does the loser have to do at the end of this season. We're going to track it all the way through the Super Bowl, right? Let's show everybody where they can find us. You send us your ideas and send us your thoughts at weatherwagers@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, meteorologist Brett Thacker, meteorologist Dan Tomaso, Twitter and Instagram, Doppler Dan.
We're there.
And Brett Thack, ABC 27. That is a wrap. Mr. Shiner, thank you so much. We're going to get you, of course, behind the mic here all season long, too. Thanks for running the boards
Thanks
for
for
us.
punching the board.
Hey,
Yep.
we'll keep it going all season.
We will, and we want all of you to stay tuned all season as well. Dan, thanks. We're coming back next week
This was
for
fun.
week 1. Enjoy week 0, everybody. Weather Wagers out.